Hi everyone, it's Tom here, and on today's video I want to talk about IG trading. If you're familiar with the channel, if you've watched some of our previous videos, you'll know that a lot of our team use IG trading. It's not perfect broker, but I think it's got some really excellent features. And when I speak to traders who've been using it, even traders that have been using it for quite a while, they maybe don't know about some of these features. So I thought, okay, perfect topic for a video. Let's put together 5 of my favorite features on IG. Things that maybe you overlooked if you're using the platform, or if you're looking for a new broker, maybe you're just starting out in trading, would these be useful to have? So yeah, guys, let's just jump into it. Just very quickly before we dive in, if you're still struggling with your trading, or you'd like to know more about how mechanical edges are traded, I've put together a free video course for you that'll map out and explain everything in detail, along with walking you through exactly how the mechanical rules actually work. If you'd like to watch that after this video, I'll pop a link in the description. You can click through and you can watch that straight away. So the first feature I find really useful on IG is, it might seem something minor this, but it's the ability to export your charts. Now, I'm sure for experienced traders, you've been in this situation. You want to save a chart, you want to have a look at it, maybe you want to print it out and annotate it. I find that a really useful way to learn and just to assess my performance. And yeah, okay, it's fine to just take a screenshot or snip it or whatever, but IG save you a little bit of time. They have an export chart function, which I find just really useful. It saves you that time there. So let's say I want to look through this, I want to print out this screenshot of pound dollar, just have a look at how these moving averages played out, whatever the reason. Instead of having to do a print screen or a snip, we can just go up to here into the options and you go export chart, and it comes up as an image. It does all that work for you. It might seem a minor thing, but it just takes a little bit of time and fuss about having a print screen and then having to save it as an image, or having to snip it and save it as an image. It takes that away. It's just already there. You can open it up and there's the chart, and it's directly available to print. Again, guys, it might seem something really minor, but in the long run, I find it a really useful feature that I wish other brokers would implement. The second really useful feature of IG that I think a lot of traders don't know about is the info tab. Now, I get asked this a lot by traders, and it comes down to what's margin. How do I work out my margin on a trade, Tom? How do I understand this? What margin are available on IG? How are they different on different markets? And other things like why is my minimum stop loss so ridiculous on this particular trade? Can I get this trade placed really? There are ways to check this on other brokers certainly, but I found one of the most useful features on a broker regarding this is the info tab here on IG. You open up this, it gives you all this key information. It gives you your minimum size, gives you your margin factor, stop loss distance and guaranteed stop loss distance depending on which one you're using, even your slippage if you wanted to know that, and also margin requirements down here. Tells you how you'll be affected depending on those tiers of your position sizes, and it tells you how to work out your margin if ever you wanted to know that calculation, how IG sets this up. Obviously their calculation very similar to how a lot of other brokers do it, but I found on other platforms this kind of information pretty well hidden away, whereas on IG you've got it there. You can understand what's happening when you're placing a trade, and you can quickly check margin requirements depending on the particular market to see what markets are going to be good for you depending on your account size and your risk management. We can click on this and find out what's happening on GBP USD. We can go to crude oil, find the same thing out, have a look at the margin factor, the minimum size, etc. Go down and have a look again at your position size and how that affects your deposit and your margin requirements. It's just something that I think, certainly for traders starting out, you may be unfamiliar. What is margin? Why is it so important? It's affecting all my trades, but how do we understand it? I know we've done videos on margin before. Maybe go back and have a look at those for a little bit more information. But certainly on IG, this info tab, really useful. I mean, codes and expiry, not necessarily that important, I don't think, for anybody. But having a look at the dealing options and the margin requirements, it's probably going to save you, if you're a newer trader, it's going to save you a lot of headaches trying to understand and getting your head around why does margin matter? Why does minimum stop loss distance matter? How's this going to impact my trading depending on the markets that I'm looking to trade? Another great feature on IG is the deal and the order function. Simply the fact of placing a trade can be really stressful on some brokers' platforms. I often get comments from traders and questions about, is there any way to make this simpler? To name drop a few, I know MT4, once you get up and running on it, it's fine, but for a lot of newer traders, it's quite a complex system to get that trade placed. IG, one of the best brokers I've seen for actually allowing you to quickly and comfortably place a trade, and that's what it all should be about. We shouldn't be stressing about those factors. Trading in some aspects is tricky enough without having to deal with platforms and layouts that aren't really that easy to manage. So having something like this, where it's a simple deal function, simple order function, it will remember what you've put in last time. Okay, your parameters may change, but it's always useful to have that there. It's using a price per point system as well, which I find slightly easier than a lot size. Some of you may disagree with me on that, certainly. And obviously, once you're placing it, easy to adjust. Typing in the stuff. If I go for buy here, just let's put in a simple minimum one point price per point. Easy to move around the stop and the limit. Really simple to see where it is. To understand your risk and reward ratio, gives you the R value there, so you don't have to work it out. Gives you your stop loss and limit and the effect it'll have monetary wise, how much you're going to make on this trade, how much you're going to lose. Allows you to quickly check that actually you're managing your risk correctly. Is that number here equal to the 1% value that it should be if you're using a 1% rule? All these features here, alongside the margin as well, gives you that detail straight away. Okay, other brokers do this. I just think that in IG, it's in a really nice package. It's really easy to understand, to get used to. If you're a newer trader, it's not too daunting. Everything's explained quite well. Same with the order function as well. Obviously, the only difference there, assigning a price level. Everything else is the same. It just makes it simple to use. It just takes the stress out of something that shouldn't be stressful, but I've seen quite a few platforms and used quite a few platforms over the years where this is a really difficult part, and IG just seem to have nailed it, in my opinion, there. So a really handy feature. If you've only used IG, you might be thinking, well, Tom, why wouldn't any broker be like this? And you're quite lucky, because there are some out there that are just really difficult to use. But it's nice to see a system where I think it's really simple, takes all the worry and the stress out of actually getting the trade placed, makes your life as easy as possible in this aspect. And yeah, it's one of the features I think IG are best at. The next great feature, I think I would say something really specifically for newer traders, and it's the tutorials and also the IG Academy. I kind of wanted to lump these two into one. So firstly, let's have a look at the tutorials. So if you're using IG, you may have noticed this down here, the tutorial section. Again, seen this on other brokers' platforms. I think it works really well here though. It's something, if you're a newer trader and if you're new to IG, really important to take advantage of. We can click this at any time, search for what you're after. Let's say we're looking at, customizing a chart's appearance. It tells you where to go and have a look at all the things you're after. Chart options up here. Click through, click the icon there to bring up the options menu, and then customize appearance. Again, if you've used IG before, you'll be really familiar with this. And it tells you all the info you need to know. It directs you to the right place to have a look for it, and just hold your hand, walks you through, and it's always available there. You can always go through. Okay, found the tutorial useful. There's quite a lot on here, so you can look through. And okay, it may seem simple if you've used IG for a while, but I can remember when I started on IG, there were a few things I didn't know, and using something like the tutorial section, it can just fill in those gaps. It can really help you if you're thinking, how do I do this? Is there a simple way? The second part of this, as I mentioned, is the IG Academy. And I think this is where they really stand out against some other brokers. I think this is, again, especially for newer traders, a really useful way to learn the basics of the markets and the basics of using IG as well. You can go through the courses, you can go through live sessions, watch through those, just to fill in any gaps in your knowledge. Like I said, I've been through a few of these when I started in IG. Again, you can look through some of the really basic, fundamental areas of trading, and they have quite a lot of courses on here. You can go through. There's certainly a few hours worth of content on here. You can look through. Again, topics that I think a lot of other brokers don't necessarily cover that much. Trading psychology, We touch on it. If you've seen some of our previous videos, we really value trading psychology, and it's good to see a broker put this front and center. You can look through, if you're maybe thinking more advanced, have a look through this. Again, understanding risk and reward, it's a topic, are something that we really want to focus on, and it's something that's vital as traders. So it's good to see a broker understand and put this front and center almost, give you the indication and the understanding of what these terms are. You may have come across them, you may have seen them on other platforms, but I don't see too many brokers covering them in the detail that IG do. So yeah, between the tutorials and the IG Academy, just two features that I think are really useful to have if and when you need them. And the final thing, the final great feature I feel like IG does better than pretty much any other broker is just its layout. Just the way you can go through the charts, the desktop platform itself. I just think it works really well. Again, probably a little bit subjective. I know a few traders that really don't like it, that find it a little bit too simple, but I think for the vast majority of traders, and certainly the trading that we do here at WB Trading, you don't need anything else. It's got a really easy access to different markets, the layout wise, easy to change. Again, I've been through this in a previous video, light to dark function. If you wanted it like this instead, really easy to change. Obviously, we've been through the customization a little bit when we went through that tutorial section here. You can change everything you want in here though. If you wanted to show the watermark, okay, I find that kind of useful if you're printing something out. You just want to see what the chart is. Good to have the watermark on there. Even things like, saving the templates. I know, brokers like TradingView or platforms like TradingView are good with this, but I find IG perfectly useful. I've got a few layouts in here. We can apply a few. Let's just go for, if we wanted to do green and white, something that's useful if you want to print it out, without printing out in color. Easy to see which one's, one direction, which one's another. And, other layouts are in there. Easy to save as and apply them, go into different markets. Just these kind of things that, again, aren't massive features. They're not something that you would really have front and center if you were trying to convince somebody to use a platform. But I find the more I speak to traders who use IG, the more these kind of comments come through. Just easy things like this that you think, again, it takes the stress out of trading. It allows you to really focus on the bits that are important. Even going through and selecting, what index markets you want, what FX markets you want. These are split up quite kind of nicely. Using the workspaces up here, if you want to do another workspace, test 3, or whatever you wanted to save it as, really easy to do. It's just a nice package, basically, in IG. And I think, yeah, certainly for traders that maybe haven't gone through that many brokers, or maybe have gone through some brokers where the platform is really daunting. I know there are some great ones out there for experienced traders. If you want to do quite a lot of complex trading, a lot of technical analysis, there are probably some brokers out there that are better. But what we want to focus on, certainly with WB Trading, with our mechanical strategies, we're not looking to overly complicate things. And that's why a broker like this, which just has a nice simple layout, easy access to everything. We've been through the deal and the order function, we've been through the info tab, been through the tutorials, all those things together combined with this really nice user interface, it just makes IG a great choice in my opinion. And that's why we suggest it to a lot of our traders, and even without suggesting it, a lot of traders that join us are already using IG. So guys, there we are. They're my 5 kind of best features in IG. I know, as I mentioned, some of these are available on other platforms. I just think as a package, IG does all those things really well. And if I was starting out as a trader, I was looking for a broker and I was looking for a platform that wasn't too difficult to use, a lot of help and support there, and a lot of useful features really just to make my trading life a little easier. I think IG is a really strong contender. We've got other videos on the channel if you wanted to find out more about how their platform works in a little bit more detail. And if you don't want to use IG, okay, totally understandable. We've got some videos on TradingView, which is another really popular platform that probably is a little bit easier to access for traders around the world. So maybe worth checking those out. But as always, guys, any questions, any suggestions on things you'd like to see in future videos, just leave them in the comments below. Or, if you want to book a call, jump on and find out how we trade. Links are in the description as well, guys. But thanks for watching. I'll speak to you soon.